Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. And yeah, I just thought I'd do a little award show of this year's boxing in 2022. And yeah, I just thought I'd kind of go over some of the usual categories we all go over at the end of the year, such as fighter of the year and all that. So put together a little presentation, just kind of going through each guy. And likewise, guys, if you have any questions in the chat, feel free to get involved. I'll try and answer them as best as possible. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I'll get into a good one at first, I guess, in terms of an award. And yeah, let's get into it. If you just give me one sec. It's always a nuisance, like sharing your screen on this thing. So welcome again. So the first category I'm going to go over is obviously fight of the year. Now, I wouldn't say it's been necessarily the best year for boxing. I don't know what you guys think, but I've just felt it didn't really get the super fights that it got. But saying all that, there's always good fights throughout the year. There's always going to be a good fight. You know, it doesn't just have to be championship boxing to enjoy it. It can be contenders or whatever. It's boxing. That's why we love to watch it. As much as we want to see the big championship fights, sometimes they just don't live up to the hype. And I kind of feel it was that kind of year with some of the fights of the year anyway. So I guess kind of starting off, he's obviously Lee Wood and Conlon. Tremendous fight. It was almost like a Rocky film the way it ended with, Wood knocking Conlon out the ring. And obviously Conlon went down before in the previous rounds. So it was so dramatic. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. It was so entertaining. I think the fact the crowd were going crazy too. It was in Lee Wood's hometown in Nottingham. That no doubt, just kind of added to the hype. So no, it was a really good fight. And then another one I've seen a lot of people kind of saying is Taylor Serrano, which once again, really entertaining. Katie Taylor was, hanging on for dear life at one point, and Serrano, maybe she was a little bit unlucky not to get the knockout, but it was a very close fight. Obviously, I think it was a split decision in the end, and yeah, it's one of those. Katie got the decision. I think I did score Katie Taylor to. I think she did win that, as far as I know. And then another fight I quite enjoyed was Fundora Lubin, which was just chaos. Obviously, Fundora, he's a kind of a freak of nature. He's so tall, first and foremost. And yeah, it's just, Lubin obviously knocked him down. The first time Fundora's gone down in his career. And then Fundora, managed to come back into the fight. It could have swung either way. It was an entertaining fight, and obviously, uh, Fundora found a way and got the win over Lubin. And yeah, I just thought it was a really entertaining fight. And then I guess some other like notable ones I'd give were probably I really enjoyed Joyce Parker. Um, you know, the chin Joe Joyce has. I don't know you guys, it's just crazy like how he's able to take some of these shots. And Parker, he had some good moments in that fight. I thought, he definitely landed on Joyce, obviously, but like, he boxed pretty well. But in the end, the juggernaut he's just an absolute animal. So, and then another fight I quite enjoyed was obviously the Castano Charlo. I think Charlo, after that um, draw in the first fight with Castano, he went back to the drawing board and he made the adjustments. And yeah, I think overall it was a good fight. Castano had some good moments in that as well. But I think overall, just in terms of pure entertainment from like a fan's point of view and just the drama throughout the whole fight, it has to be Lee Wood versus Conlon. It was just tremendous fight. And I just really enjoyed it. I watched it again before this, and yeah, it was just tremendous. Um, let me know what you guys had as fight of the year. I'd love to hear in the comments. And yeah, that is my fight of the year. We'll go on to the next one. KO of the year. Now this is another really entertaining one. I put together like a video of just some of my favorite knockouts of the year. You probably, if you were here right at the start, you would have seen some of them. And yeah, I think it's probably best if you guys just check them out now. So I'll just play it right now, and you guys can give your opinion on what you thought was KO of the year. But here we go. So yeah, that was my kind of knockouts of the year. I quite like picking like a knockout from like a kind of bigger fight, I guess. There's some like lower level kind of contenders or prospect knockouts which were pretty good, but no, I was like kind of giving it to like a guy that is fighting against another top opposition, if you know what I mean. So kind of going through them all. Obviously, that recent knockout from Terence Crawford over Avanesian, just the way he set him up. He kind of figured him out, what he was doing or the way he would make the punches. And he just managed to set him up tremendously well with that knockout. And I wasn't expecting Avanesian to get knocked out like that, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it was a really good knockout from Crawford, I have to admit. Um, and then probably maybe an unpopular one was just Fury versus White. And people make the argument that Dillian White is quite chinny. But I still think it was a good knockout from Fury, just the way he managed to get the uppercut on him. Use the jab first to use before using the uppercut too. So yeah, I think I just quite like that knockout. I thought it was a big moment for Tyson Fury and Wembley as well in front of all those fans. So I just thought it was quite a good knockout from him. And then we had Cordina's knockout over Ogawa. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But yeah, it was just the timing from Cordina for that knockout. I just thought it was tremendous. and knocked him out cold. Was flat on his back. It was just a great, um, you know, kind of rhythm change from Cordina to get that knockout. It was great timing. So yeah, quite like that one. And then Tank versus Rolly. Really like that too. Obviously, Rolly was talking absolute shit all the way leading up to that fight. Made it quite entertaining, actually. Just it kind of caused a bit of hype. But at the end of the day, Tank Davis proved he's got the power. He's also got the talent to counterpunch and set up a bigger man as well, like Rolly. And yeah, it was just really well timed the way he kind of slipped right before landing the left too. And what was the other ones? Wood versus Conlon, obviously, kind of just touched on that just before. Obviously, he was kind of like he was using the jab, used like double, triple jab before throwing the right hand, and then he just cleanly hit Conlon because Conlon he likes using a lot of like defensive movement, and I just he kind of bends down to his left, and Wood was just the him flicking the jab out and then throwing that right, and because he kind of knew Conlon was going to bend eventually, he was able to set him up with that punch, and then obviously managed to get him out of the ring. So, and it added to the drama of that fight too, as I just mentioned. So, I really enjoyed that knockout, and we also obviously had Plant against Durrell, which I just loved that knockout. I'm not gonna lie, the way Plant he kind of like he went to the body and then he paused, and that just led enough time for Durrell to open up himself when he went for his hook, and yeah, Plant just got him on the button, bang, good night, he's gone, and yeah, it was just a tremendous knockout from Caleb Plant. But yeah, guys, let me know. Is there a knockout that I missed out in the chat? Um, let me know. I'd love to know. Uh, and yeah, in terms of my knockout of the year, I am going to go for Caleb Plant. I think it was just really well set up by him, and yeah, I just love the way he kind of went to the body, the slight pause. I think he is obviously a pure boxer, Caleb Plant, and for me, I think just the fact he just knocked him out cold after he came up top, tremendous. Wood Conlon, I see. Obviously, I've seen a lot of people do that. It was a good knockout as well, but there's just something about Caleb Plant's I think was nice. So next category, prospect of the year, and kind of a bit biased, I guess. I think Top Rank, they've snapped up all these great prospects coming through now, former Olympians and whatnot, and yeah, they're just looking. Top Rank have done a good job in terms of uh, signing a lot of these guys. I'm not gonna lie, and the three guys I thought have kind of stood out this year are Kashawn Davis, Robeisy Ramirez. I think that's how you say his first name. Correct me if I'm wrong. Xander Zayas as well. Those are the three guys I've been most impressed with. I think they all have bright futures as well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing them develop over the next few years. Could be in some big fights. Ramirez and, Davis could potentially even fight. And I think, every time I've seen Kashawn Davis in terms of him, he just looks so impressive. You can tell from his amateur pedigree, he just looks so comfortable in the ring, and the fact he's like training with like Terence Crawford as well. I think you know, that just proves, you know how talented he is. That Crawford's brought him in. Uh, so I really do rate him. And then Robeisy, Robeisy, I think that's how you say it. Robeisy Ramirez. I don't know how you say his first name. Need to see how you actually pronounce it. But I saw him he was on the undercard for the Taylor versus Catterall fight, which I was at. So that was the first time I actually properly saw him. I know he obviously boxed at the Olympics, but seeing him in the flesh, I was like, this guy's good. um, and then he backed it up this year again with that big win over Nova. That was a great victory for him. And uh, yeah, I think he looks like he's going to be the real deal. He's obviously Cuban. Everyone expects a Cuban fighter to be, really elusive and back boxing on the back foot, but he actually comes forward, so he's quite entertaining to watch. And then obviously there's Xander Zayas, who is another fighter I really enjoy watching. Um, and he's, I think he's had tougher fights. I think he only got one knockout out of the three fights he had this year, but he still looks very good, sharp. I think he wasn't as good in his last fight, but I still think give this guy another 2, 3 more years, and everyone will be talking about him. He's that next. I think he's the next great Puerto Rican fighter that will come out. But in terms of like the prospect of the year, I have to go for Sean Davis. I just think he just looks so good when he's in there, and I really hope next year they just keep putting up the level of opposition, because I really think he can definitely take on a lot of the top lightweights over the next couple of years. Maybe even a fight with Shakur Stevenson or something that would be a good fight to see maybe one day. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens there. Next up, we got Trainer of the Year, and yeah, I guess there was a few options, and I thought these were the three guys that kind of stood out for me. And we've obviously got Bob Santos, who trains Hector Garcia, who got that big upset win over Colbert, and also Carlos Adames, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who also got a really good solid one as well. And he just looks to be doing some good work this year. So yeah, I had to put him in the list. And then obviously we've got Dmitry Bivol's trainer, Gennady Mazhniov. I think that's how you pronounce his name. But I think, obviously Dmitry Bivol got those two amazing wins over Ramirez and Canelo, and he plays a big part in that. And then we've also got Derek James, tremendous trainer as well. Obviously got Spence, a victory over Ugas, and he also got Charlo, that win over Castano. And then just the most recent fight with Frank Martin, tremendous display of boxing. And yeah, I think he looks really good. And, you need to give Derek James his credit. And that is why I give him Trainer of the Year. As much as, I've seen people say he doesn't maybe deserve Trainer of the Year because Spence and Charlo have been so inactive. And, I still think he deserves it. I think also the work with Frank Martin as well, especially after that display just the other day, I think you have to give him Trainer of the Year without a doubt. And you guys keep the chat going. If you've got any questions, I'll try probably answer them at the end of of doing my awards. If you've got any like video requests or anything like that as well, feel free to put them in. And yeah, I'll try and answer as many as I can. And let me know where you guys are watching from as well. Always get someone like from a really random country, so it'd be interesting to know. Upset of the year, kind of already touched that just before. Garcia's went over Colbert. Colbert, you know, many expected him to win that. He was a huge favorite, and Garcia, proved a lot of people wrong with that victory. Good, it was a really good win. Obviously, and then we've got Bivol over Canelo. I didn't really see that many people pick Bivol to win, including myself. I thought Canelo was going to win that, and yeah, he proved the boxing world wrong. And we also got Opatia, the Australian, against Bridis. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. But his win over Bridis to become cruiserweight champion, really good display, and one not that many people saw coming. And yeah, he looks the real deal. And yeah, that's kind of my picks. Let me know in the comments if there was any upsets you guys had that I've missed out. I'd love to know. But those were my kind of main three upsets. And I have to go for Bivol to get the upset of the year because, like I said, everyone was saying Canelo, there's no chance Bivol wins. And I was very like, in my prediction video, which I did obviously earlier in the year, I was very close to swinging it to Bivol, but I just thought, going with Canelo's history with judges and his recent form as well. He was just beating everyone. Even I found it hard to see Canelo winning that, but fair fair play to Bivol doing that. Tremendous victory. And female fighter of the year or women's fighter of the year. We've got Katie Taylor, Baumgardner, and Clarissa Shields. So obviously, Katie Taylor, big win in Madison Square Garden versus Serrano. It was billed as the fight of the century for women, and it lived up. They lived up to the hype, and she went through adversity in that fight as well, and you have to give her credit. Serrano could have got her out. She really could. So the fact that she managed to win split decision, I know there is quite a lot of people that kind of say, it could have gone either way, but she got the win at the end of the day, and it was a close fight. So yeah, I go, Kate, good job from Katie Taylor as well. Baumgardner obviously got that win over Mayer. She also had another win earlier in the year. And when I first watched that fight with Mayer, I thought Mayer won the fight against Baumgardner. But then after kind of watching, I watched the fight again and also looked at the fight stats. And Baumgardner actually did a lot better than you actually think. And yeah, you kind of got to give her credit. She actually did a really good job in that fight on a second watch. It was a close fight, very close fight. Could have gone either way, but you have to put her in the running for it. And then obviously Clarissa Shields, who was also fighting on that card. Great fight with Savannah Marshall. I didn't, as much as I thought that fight was entertaining, I wouldn't put it like as a fight of the year personally. I thought the other ones were more entertaining to me personally. And Clarissa Shields showed her class, some great defensive display, counter punching, and against a much bigger lady in Savannah Marshall as well, who tried to kind of just walk down Marshall, but Marshall, she's got great ring IQ and brilliant win in the end. So on that note, female fighter of the year, women's fighter of the year has to go to Clarissa Shields. As I said, tremendous performance and undisputed once again. It's just crazy what she's done in the sport for women as well. So, yep, that's the award for her. And fighter of the year. And I think I know. I'd love to hear what you guys think after I kind of let you know who I thought kind of maybe deserved it. But I've kind of got 5 guys that I would pick who kind of need to be talked about in the running, I think. And let me just get them up. So we obviously got Bam Rodriguez, got 3 wins in 2022, became the youngest world champion in boxing after defeating Carlos Cuadras, with 5 days notice as well. You need to keep that in mind too, which is just mental. Moving up in weight, winning that fight, tremendous. And then to probably put on one of the performances of the year against Rung Visai. And yeah, Rung Visai was maybe kind of aging. He's maybe past his best now. But, it was just a tremendous performance from Bam. And yeah, he's definitely going to be the next star in boxing. And then obviously he got a really good fight, very good victory over Gonzalez on the Canelo Golovkin undercard. I think it was the Canelo Golovkin undercard. So yeah, really tremendous display, and it's just his use of using angles and setting up punches from you know off his jab, and this he's just a beautiful fighter to watch. He kind of almost reminds me of Chocolatito and Lomachenko in a way. And then we got Jermell Charlo, obviously became undisputed, and I think that's why you kind of need to put. I know, let's be honest, he's not the fighter of the year. There's better guys, but I think the fact that he got that win over Castano and a really good performance as well, and to become undisputed at 154 pounds, you have to at least put him in the top five, in my opinion. And Devin Haney as well got two pretty near perfect performances over George Kambosos in Australia, away from home. And to go back there again after winning and just put on another solid display and defend his belts, and as much as, the thing is, Kambosos, you might not say stylistically could have never really beaten Devin Haney, because the issue with Kambosos, he's such a counterpuncher himself, and he was trying to be the aggressor, and it just it was just playing into Devin Haney's hands. So no, solid year for Devin Haney. I'm looking forward, and I hope he'll fight someone like Lomachenko next year. Then we've got Naoya Inoue, and he obviously destroyed Nonito Donaire in their rematch, as you saw in the clips earlier on, and then obviously beat Butler too. And yeah, just a tremendous year for Inoue, and he became the first Japanese boxer to claim an undisputed championship in the four belt era, and he was also the first boxer in history to knock out each champion before he won all the belts. First guy to do it as well, to knock each one to get each belt, which is incredible when you actually think about it as well. So, the guy he is a monster. That's the best way to describe him. He just crazy how good he is, and I'm looking forward to see, what he does next year. I think we obviously want that Stephen Fulton fight, and hopefully we can get it. And then obviously there's Mr. Bivol, Dimitri Bivol, and as I just mentioned, he upset the boxing world by getting that win over Canelo, the man on form, the pound for pound star, and he completely outboxed him. Just a tremendous performance from Bivol, and you got to, just the way he was able to, box, just basically box around the ring and with comfort, using his jab, irritating Canelo, frustrating him. Whenever he was on the ropes, he was able to turn, get out, and move off the ropes pretty, comfortably against arguably one of the best kind of like power punching, pressure fighters in the last kind of couple of years. And, I found this like crazy stat on Bivol. Both Canelo and Zerdo threw 1,373 punches against Bivol in those two fights, with only 191 of them landing. So that's 14, like just over 14% of their punches landed on Bivol. And let's be honest, they didn't get him with clean shots that like absolutely hurt him massively. He, these are like, jabs or a body shot or something like that. They just couldn't hit the guy. His defense is unbelievable. Don't know what you guys think, but for me, I have to give Fighter of the Year to Dimitri Bivol. I just don't. It's too. Obviously the Ramirez fight. I think there was question marks around Ramirez, whether was he actually that good, but at the end of the day, Ramirez, he's a big light heavyweight, southpaw. he had 5 knockouts in his last 5 fights before the Bivol fight. So he was a dangerous opponent. But Bivol, smaller man as well, once again, against another kind of bigger light heavyweight, completely controlled center ring, outboxed him, and yeah, just a tremendous performance from Bivol, and obviously the win over Canelo Alvarez as well. And yeah, I put together just a wee clip just to kind of show you guys some of Bivol in action. So I'll just get that up for you guys to see. And that is my awards. I know there was like some other categories I could have put in, but I just didn't really have the time. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna stay on for a while, maybe like an hour more, if there's enough of you on. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And yeah, and if you were late to the show, I'm happy to answer in the comments who I had. So I'll just see if you guys have said anything. Michael Lavin, Rolly Romero, the most meme fighter. Yeah, maybe after that knockout. AMCA, Charlo is so overrated. Which Charlo? I don't think Jermel Charlo, who's just become undisputed, I wouldn't say he's underrated. I mean, overrated. I'd probably say he's underrated, if I'm being honest. Let me know, like, why do you not rate Charlo? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And Australia, welcome, man. Must be morning there. Marco, plant celebration of the year. Yeah, it was pretty savage the way he was like digging up a grave. I have to admit that was like, pretty savage from him. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed it. John, hi Jamie and everyone. Agree Canelo plant, one of the best knockouts. MCA. I agree with the plant KO. Thanks, man. Yeah, guys, let me know like who's your fighter of the year, your knockout of the year, and your fight of the year. I'd love to hear your thoughts and why. Just let me know, and I'd love to hear. What's your reasons? Marco, sorry, I didn't see that when you posted that. Bridus won that. I don't know, man. I don't think he did personally, but it was a close fight. Cornbread. The problem with ranking these guys is it's hard to really rate fight quality with any kind of honesty. So far, who has enjoyed watching any Haney fights? Anywhere close to the Inoue versus Nonito one? Yeah, not like I think if I'm being honest, Devin Haney, he's an outboxer. He looks to fight on the outside, and he's not a guy that's going to come and take the fight to you. So he's not necessarily going to be the most entertaining. Saying that, you could maybe make the same argument against Floyd Mayweather as well. He's kind of that kind of same approach. But yeah, at the same time, I knew he's fun to watch. I knew he is like a great fighter to watch. He's entertaining, uses his power, uses pressure, athleticism, and yeah, that's why we like watching him. So um, they're different fighters, though. At the end of the day, John, would you rate Joe Joyce's chances against Fury and Usyk? Uh, I think Fury would have a harder time against Joe Joyce, if I'm being honest. Um, I think Usyk. Think even the fact that he's faced Joyce before in the amateurs, I think would actually help going into that fight. But Joe Joyce, he's an animal. Let's be honest. Corn bread this year is not so great as far as good fights go. So I got no real picks. Yeah, like I don't know if you guys have seen my most recent video. Um, Sorry, my computer just froze there. But yeah, I think if you've seen my most recent video, I kind of give you my top fights I want to see for next year. But that's one of the issues I've had is this year is just, it's not been of the caliber it should have. There should have been other fights that should have been made, obviously. The Spence Crawford fight and stuff like that. But uh, it's funny. Usually I feel like the start of the year for boxing is very slow. There isn't many that big. There's maybe like a couple of big fights January, February. Then there's a kind of a dry spell till May. Then you get someone like Canelo fighting, and then there's another kind of dry spell over the summer. You might get one or two big fights, and then usually the tail end of the year is that's when there's like some really big fights. But this year, it's just never really kicked off. So we just got to hope next year kind of starts to pick up. The boxing universe. How do you see Plant versus Benavidez going? Yeah, I think I really like Plant overall as a fighter. I think he's you could say he probably has more tools in his box than Benavidez. However, Benavidez, for me, physically, um, I think will be a problem for Caleb Plant. Right now, I'd probably edge it to Benavidez. That's not to say it would be a close fight, I just think Benavidez, he kind of has this way of he's an aggressive counterpuncher. He'll walk you down, but he's actually quite elusive as well. Takes a lot of shots in the gloves as well, waiting for his opportunity. Can Caleb not fall into a trap, or can Caleb set him up with something, frustrate him? Be interesting to see, but I'm just kind of there's something that just makes me think Benavidez manages to walk him down a bit like Canelo did. He just overpowered him eventually, and I could see Benavidez doing the same thing. Tuka Manavar, Jermel, no way underrated. Open your eyes, man. AMCA, man. See, I'm not the only one that doesn't think he's overrated. What are you saying? Who has Charlo fought? Mike Tyson even put it to him. He can fight Benavidez, but chooses who. Like, this is the thing. Are you? Because there's Jamal Charlo, who's in the higher weight division, but Jermel Charlo is obviously fought Castano. He's in the division below. Are you talking about him moving up, Jermel or Jamal? It's so confusing because they're identical, but boxing universe. Me personally, I see Joe Kazagi as a top 10 out of 15 fighter all the time. What's your personal opinion on Kazagi, and would you put him in top 15? Like of all time, not of all time, no way. I think he's one of the great. He's probably one of the greatest British fighters. You have to give him credit for that. I think the fact you, people make the argument he obviously didn't fight as many top guys for most of his career, and it wasn't until the end he kind of came over to America and was fighting the likes of Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins, but who were kind of past it. Some people say, but personally, I think he's an amazing fighter. I think it's just a shame we didn't see him fight those guys when he was a bit younger. But it is what it is. I really rate him though. He's fantastic. He's a southpaw. He's got quick hands. He's got good feet. He's a showman and can knock guys out. So yeah, no, I definitely rate Kilzagi. I want to do a video on him. Because yeah, no, he's a great fighter. Or he was a great fighter. Duca, Harrison, Castano, Lubin are also, yeah, they are good fighters, all of them. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Any requests, video requests, or anything like that. And yeah, let me know who you guys had as fighter of the year, KO of the year. I'd love to know. And Glenn, I suppose you're talking about Calzaghe. Yeah. Best super middleweight of all time. That's a good question. I think there's a few people. Obviously Roy Jones Jr. I know he beat him, but Roy Jones in his prime. Oh my god. One of the best. Andre Ward, could you put him in there? Canelo even. There's some other, good super middleweights you need to consider too. And Glenn, yeah, like I don't know if you probably didn't see my picks earlier, but yeah, I had Bivol as my fighter of the year as well. Totally deserved it in my opinion. Yeah, he totally outboxed Ramirez and Canelo, and they couldn't land anything on him. AMCA, he keeps talking about moving weights. He's not very honest. Bivol will fight anyone. How about BTBF? Everyone avoids that guy. Yeah, well, Biev is a monster as well. He's a bit like a Nui in that sense. And hopefully that fight with Bivol happens next year. And yeah, the Charlo brothers, they do talk as well, man. So I kind of get the frustration. Mad Chad Sports Tavern, thanks for the comment, dude. Bivol fighter of the year and Wood KO of the year. Yeah, agree. What's your fight of the year? I had Wood Conlon as my fight of the year, and I had Caleb Plant as my KO of the year. And guys, is there a question for you guys? What about round of the year? I know I didn't really have enough time to look into it, but kind of off the top of my head, I'm kind of thinking one of the rounds Usyk fought. I think it was one of the later rounds where he kind of was just like counter punching Joshua. It was just, like tremendous round for Usyk, and then even the Chocolatito Estrada, the final round, I thought that was really good as well. All right, who else have we got? Steve, man, thanks for the comment. Joshua versus Usyk, too. Not a contender for fight of the year. Not sure if I missed it. Yeah, I know I didn't have it as a fight of the year contender. I know, like, I probably should have put in a category for performance of the year, and you probably maybe need to consider Usyk in that. I don't know who. Let me know who you guys. What was the performance of the year, not the fighter of the year, but like the performance, who really stood out with you in one particular fight? I guess you could put Usyk in that. Glenn, Roy only had a couple at super middleweight. He beats years off Canelo. Yeah, I agree. And prime for prime. Yeah, definitely. I agree, man. I think Roy Jones. Roy Jones in his prime beats a lot of almost everyone, I think. Um, Duca, thanks for the comment again. Andy Ruiz, Deontay Wilder. Yeah, I would like to see it. Personally, I think Deontay Wilder wins that pretty easily, if I'm being honest. Um, I think Andy Ruiz, if we saw in the Ortiz fight, he did leave himself open quite a bit. And, Andy Ruiz's style is about coming forward and applying pressure. And eventually, I can see Deontay Wilder just catching him at one point. So, be interesting to see what happens there. Hopefully, it happens as well. John, thanks for the comment, man. How do you rate Joe Joyce's chances against Fury and Usyk? I think someone else asked this earlier, and I think Joyce gives Fury a harder time than Usyk. Personally, I think Usyk obviously has been in the ring with Joyce in the amateurs. I think he would just be able to figure him out, and maybe quite similar to the Joshua fight, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, that's what I think. He is a beast, though, Joe Joyce. He's absolute animal. Uh, Mad Chad Sports Tavern. Yeah, Lubin Fundura. I had that as in the categories for me. I think tremendous fight. And, like, thank God Lubin came out of it okay in the end, because Fundura, it's weird how, like, it's just strange. His whole body, and he's so tall for that weight division, and yet he generates so much power. Um, yeah, he's kind of a freak of nature, if I'm being honest. To be able to drop down to that weight with his height and KO guys the way he does, crazy. Glenn, Plant KO of the year, Parker Joyce fight of the year. Yeah, I touched on that earlier in the stream. I think I think Parker did a really good job to keep off Joyce. Obviously landed on him a few times as well. Some good shots on him. But Joyce, as I just mentioned, he's just an animal. He just keeps coming forward, and he does actually have slightly underrated boxing ability. He can uses his jab quite well. He looks to slip punches and goes to the body. Yeah, he's a good fighter. AMCA, you were thinking Usyk. Yeah, like I can't remember what round, but like there was a round where he just like, for the entertainment, like from a boxing perspective, like watching him just box around the ring, counter punching Joshua, moving, doing it again, in and out. Yeah, he's something else. Cornbread. If you guys have any questions, put them in. Happy to answer them. Or if you have any video requests you'd like me to do for next year, um, happy to consider them. I agree. Bivol had done some good work in his last out. Yep. John Ennis. Yeah, I think he fought. I think he's only fought once this year, I believe. Might be wrong. I'm just checking. But he really does need like a step up. Yeah, he only fought against Clayton one fight this year, and he's obviously got a fight coming up next in January, I believe. Um, so hopefully, I think Jerome Ennis for next year, I'd love to see him get some step up fights. Du- 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 du. Yeah, Bam was awesome as well. Yeah, yeah, that Rungvisai fight was terrific. Really good performance. Um, really rated it. And like Rungvisai, as much as like people are like, oh, he's on the decline. It was an easy. He was always going to lose to Bam. I don't think one shot from Rungvisai and you're down. Just watch that Chocolatito fight. I suppose you're talking about Wilder, Duca. I don't know. I think it's the other way around. I think Wilder catches Ruiz coming in. The boxing universe. What's your opinion on Christian Mbili? I have no idea who that is, man. Christian Mbili. How do you spell that again? Sorry. I can't seem to find it for whatever reason, man. Corey, I think Bam and Rungvisai was the best performance all year. Yeah. It was just an entertaining fight to see, Bam Rodriguez, you know, prove he is the real deal. I think it was really impressive. Just the way he was cutting at using angles. Rungvisai just couldn't get his head around it. You just saw Rungvisai not panic, but he was just getting frustrated, missing, throwing punches in thin air, and Bam was off again, using his jab as well, and just that southpaw stance causes so many problems. So, and one of the categories I had earlier was upset of the year. I don't know if there was any other upsets that you guys had. I had Garcia versus Colbert and uh, Opedia versus, I think that's how you pronounce his name, the Australian, um, against Bridus, and obviously Bivol versus Canelo. But I don't know if there's any other upsets this year that have happened that I've missed out. And for trainer of the year, I also had Derek James. What do you guys think about that? Do you think he deserves it, or do you think someone else deserves it? I also had, what's his name again? Let's forget his name. Bob Santos, and then Bivol's trainer, Mazhinov. Opatia, Glenn. Yeah, like no one expected him to beat Bridus, so I didn't anyway. It was a good performance. I didn't know really anything much about him before that fight. One of the best KOs of the year, in my opinion, was Joyce Parker. Yeah, it was a good knockout. Yeah, I probably should have included that. Now that I think about it. Corey, yeah, I think Derek James deserved. Yeah, I think he obviously got the Charlo win, um, the Spence win over Ugas, and then Frank Martin. He looks like he's the real deal, Frank Martin. He's gonna be a problem, that kid, um, especially after watching that last fight as well. Yeah, Bivol's trainer. Yeah, Mazhinov. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Gennady Mazhinov. And you guys, if you got any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Is there any videos you'd like me to do for next year? John, thanks again for the comment, man. Do I think Prince Nassim Hamed is one of the best lightweights of all time? Was he not? I think he was a super feather. Was he not a super featherweight or a featherweight? I thought he was a featherweight. Just checking just to see. Yeah, he was a bantamweight, super featherweight, super bantamweight, and featherweight. Well, I think he had his best years as a featherweight. Um, Personally, yeah, but he's definitely one of the best featherweights, one of the greatest British fighters, without a doubt. Corey, sorry, thanks for the comment, man. Taylor versus Catterall has to be robbery of the year, right? Yeah, definitely. Um, I was actually at the fight, and it's funny. Like, obviously, I'm in a Scottish crowd, so we all before it was announced, we're all like, "Yeah, he's lost this." And when they announced, obviously, that Taylor had won, we were all like, everyone was like cheering and like celebrating. But then once we all like everyone calmed down, they're like, "Yeah, he lost that. He definitely lost that." um, and yeah, I feel bad for Catterall. He should have won that fight. It was obvious even from being in the arena that Taylor lost, and I'm a huge Josh Taylor fan. I think he just looked past Catterall, if I'm being honest, and I also think he struggled with the weight. But you also need to give credit to Catterall. I think he looked good at the weight, and he also just came in with a solid game plan. Um, is there any other what been some other robberies this year? I know one of them was that um, John Ryder and oh, his name's gone out of my head. Jacobs. That was a. I thought that was a closer fight than people were saying. I wouldn't necessarily say that was a robbery, but yeah, I thought right. You know, maybe a draw. Maybe probably a draw or Jacobs should have won, but it was close in some rounds. There was some swing rounds in there, but yeah, I'd love to hear was there any other robberies this year? There has this is boxing, there clearly had to be some robberies. Duca, do you think Loma lost to Lopez? I do not. I thought Teofimo Lopez did enough to win personally. Um, Loma came too late into the rounds. He came far too late when he started stepping it up. Um, Lopez did a good job in terms of just controlling with his jab and stopping him from getting into range. John, how do you rate Prince Nassim Hamed as one of the greatest lightweights of all? Wait, have you or would you do a breakdown video of him? Yeah, no, no, I would definitely want to do it. He's, I think, just the footwork and his movement. Yeah, he's that'd be a good one to do. Um, and yeah, guys, if you're still here, feel free to put any questions or anything. I'll quickly go over my. I can go over my awards again if you want quickly for those that have just joined. Um, don't worry, I won't do the whole presentation again. I'll just quickly go through the presentation just so you guys can see who I actually had each category. Um, okay. So fight of the year. I had Leewood Conlon, Fundora Lubin, Taylor Serrano, Charlo Castano, and Joyce Parker. And I had Wood Conlon. I just thought it was really entertaining overall. Just a good fight. KO of the year. Um, I had it as Mr. Plant. Had other guys like Tank Davis, Tyson Fury over White. Cordina's knockout over Ogawa. I thought that was great as well. Just the timing of it. And obviously Wood versus Conlon as well, even that. And Crawford's most recent knockout as well. Prospect of the year had like Davis, Ramirez, and Zayas. I think they all look really promising. But Keyshawn Davis, for me, he looks like he's the man. Every time that guy gets in the ring, he kind of reminds you of Terence Crawford in a way. And Floyd, he's just kind of got that presence to him. Trainer of the year, we just kind of discussed that. Derek James, Bob Santos, and Majniov, Bivol's trainer. And I had Derek James with that one. And upset of the year, Garcia's win over Colbert, Dimitri Bivol, Canelo, and Opatia versus Bridas. But for me, it had to be Bivol against Canelo. Female fighter of the year, I had Clarissa Shields. Obviously, Katie Taylor and Baumgardner could have given it to them, but I think just Clarissa Shields getting undisputed again. She deserved it. And then obviously fighter of the year, as I think most people, is obviously Dimitri Bivol. And yeah, guys, let me know in the comments. Do you want to see that knockout montage again? The worst robbery in these times was Ward versus Kovalev. Kovalev, I think it was a close fight personally. I scored it a draw at the time. I think Kovalev did, probably did enough to win, let's be honest. But Ward also did enough for the rest of the fight to make it a close fight. Even though Kovalev did some good work. Corey, I would like to see it again. All right, man. Yeah, no problem. All right, I'll put this on, guys, and you can kind of give me your thoughts on it after. So, all right. So this montage is about a minute long. So I'll start it in a sec. So yeah, I just love that Caleb Plant knockout. Honestly, just seeing it again, it's just the way he pauses, and that actually makes Daryl open up, and he's able to land on him. It's just a tremendous knockout. And yeah, he obviously knocks him out. He's just Daryl flat on his back after, and that Joe Cordina's one as well. I quite like it. And I understand why people are saying Wood versus Conlon because he knocks him out the ring. But I just feel that Plant one it was just a special knockout for me. And then obviously Crawford Avanesian, what that was a really good knockout as well, I think. But that was, he set him up on that one um, before he kind of figured out, how he would attack, and he opened him up. So yeah, no, I really like that knockout as well. So yeah, no, there's some good knockouts this year, I have to admit. So yeah, pretty good. Let me know in the comments if you've just joined. I know there's not that many of you here, but let me know if you have any questions or any requests for next year in terms of a video. And I should hopefully have one out just before New Year, which you guys should enjoy. I'm just in the middle of editing it now, and yeah. Fred Red 50, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Means a lot. And hope you have a good holiday as well, man. And Mauritius. Corey, honestly, think much appreciated, man. That means a lot. I do trust me when I say this. I put in a lot of work and research and time into this, and to make it work. And I'm just grateful that there's people out there that appreciate my content, and I just hope they can take something from some the videos. And whether you box or you're just a fight fan, you want to find out more. That's my mission with this channel. I just want to help people, and yeah, that I enjoy it as well, which helps. Also, have a wee clip of Bivol as well. Um, of just kind of a couple of clips from him. I couldn't use um full footage for this video just because, or this stream, sorry, because obviously I get copyrighted. So I had to find like ringside footage. That was the only way I could really get it going. Um, or I'll play the Bivol one in a sec. And like I said, guys, you got any questions or any requests, put them in. Happy to answer them. Jerry Thomas, Frank Martin thoughts. Yeah, oh, that was that display against Riviera. I think that's how you say his name. Unbelievable. Like I knew of Frank Martin. I knew he was a good fighter, but I think that fight for me, really proved that he's the real deal. And the thing I really liked about him was just the way he was just touching him with the jab. He would touch, shoot to the body, touch, shoot up top, touch him, and then eventually it would force Riviera to get frustrated with him throwing out that southpaw jab so often that he would throw his right hand, and all Frank Martin had to do was just use that kind of shoulder roll, go back slightly, or just use footwork before countering back with his left hand. And yeah, you gotta applaud that performance from Frank Martin. He looked very good. So guys, I'll stay for another like 10 minutes. Like I said, you got any questions or anything like that, let me know. But I'll play this little clip from Bivol just now. So I'll be back in 1 second. I love that clip of Bivol, how he just you could just tell Canelo was so frustrated fighting him. And it makes me laugh actually. Um It's just how good Bivol is. It's crazy. Like I knew he was good. I always knew Bivol was going to be a problem for Canelo. I knew he was going to use his movement, and Canelo would struggle to get to him. And yeah, it's just tremendous. And then even the fight against Ramirez, just the way he was able to stand center ring, really for the whole fight, just his ring generalship again, was amazing in that fight. Duca, again, thanks for the comment. Riviera, maybe he was weight trained. Still, Frank Martin is like the Black Loma. I wouldn't necessarily say he's not really got a Loma style. I would say he's more of kind of like a Pernell Whitaker. Not so much, obviously, not as defensive as Pernell Whitaker, but he's kind of got that. With it's the southpaw stance. That's in the you can see elements of Derek James with the Jermell Charlo and Errol Spence as well in him slightly. And no doubt training with those guys will make him even better. And yeah, guys, any last questions? Happy to answer them. And any requests either. Just feel free to comment in the chat. Archibald honestly thought Ramirez was going to stop Bivol, even though I'm a massive Bivol fan. He proved me wrong. Yeah, like, dude, see when I did a prediction video where I did like my tactical overview, and I was looking at Ramirez, and he's a big guy for that weight. But if you just compare the two of them, just from you know, Bivol's movement is always going to be a problem for whoever he faces, and the fight I want to see is against Peter Biev. I think for some reason the only kind of guy I think could maybe beat Bivol is Peter Biev. But Peter Biev needs to get that fight sooner rather than later because Peter Biev's like 37 now, I believe. And Bevel's like, I don't know, 33, 34 maybe. He's still a lot younger, fresher than Peter Biev. Archibald, what videos do you plan in the future? I've got a couple of plans. I'm gonna probably introduce a couple more different like series of videos or kind of topics, should I say? I kind of want to do videos like on like past trainers and current trainers and kind of the tactics they used for their fighter. Um, Stuff on that I kind of want to do that, and then maybe also look at like things like certain boxing gyms. I'm I've got one. I was going to do it this year, but I kind of stopped writing the script for it on the Kronk gym, on that style and the fighters that have come out of there. So I want to do that. I'll obviously do that at some point next year, um, maybe around February time. But I want to do obviously more training video. I'll keep the training videos as well and the style videos going. Um, but yeah, that's kind of my plans at the moment. Um, Tucker, do I think Canelo fixes fights going up in heavier weights? I don't know. I don't understand what you mean, man. Do you mean like corrupt? Like he's like paying off people to win fights or something? I don't know what you mean. Archibald, thoughts on Warrington versus Conlon clash? I'd like to imagine Warrington would want that fight since Conlon is a boxer and not a big puncher. Uh, yeah, Conlon looked good in his last fight. He obviously got that. He got a knockout, didn't he? So yeah, I think that could be an interesting clash. Warrington isn't known to being a big puncher either, so I think Conlon would be pretty comfortable going into that fight. And any last questions, guys? I'll stay for another 5-10 minutes if there's enough. If not, I'll be heading off. And I wish you guys a good Christmas and New Year. Any last requests? This is your last chance. But I appreciate anyone that stayed this whole time, or if you're watching later, thanks for joining. It's been good fun. I always like doing live streams. I don't know. Do you guys want me to do more of these, or should I stop doing them? Corey, what do you think the pound for pound list will look like in 5 years? I think like some of the guys have touched on. I think Bam Rodriguez, Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz Jr., Jared Anderson, the heavyweight. I think he'll probably be up there. Those are just kind of guys off the top of my head right now who I'm kind of thinking, and trying to think of some younger guys. I think Anui will still be, but then Anui's about. I think he's like 29 now, so in 5 years' time, yeah, he'll be kind of maybe past it. Devin Haney, he's still very young. He's only 23, 24. Be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens, Corey. And yeah, more live streams. Yeah, I'll probably do more like live streams. Like, I think for me, I'm not too bothered about views. I just think this is a good way to engage with like some of you guys that watch my videos, like, and just chat to you. But it's probably best if I when's the best time to do a live stream? Like, is it after a fight, or do you want me to do like a review show? I think people are more interested, like fight react, like right after like a big fight happens, going on a stream. I think that's probably the best way forward for doing it, or just before a fight, maybe. What do you guys think? When would be the best time to do it? All right, guys. I think unless there's any last questions, put them in. Otherwise, I might call it quits. I'll quickly go over my presentation again if you want, but I don't think there's not that many people here now. So Corey, after a fight. Yeah, I'll maybe do that next year. Maybe after like the Tank Davis fight, might do something like that. An Isaac Cruz video. He's not one guy I think he's a good fighter, but in terms of doing a whole video on him, maybe, I don't know. I guess let's see how he does maybe this year. It just depends if there's enough people wanting that video, I think, for me to put in the time and the research. Um, is there any like old fighters you guys would like me to do? I know someone's like people have mentioned Kolzagi and Prince Nassim Hamid, but I will get some videos out um, at the end of January. I'll get one out next week, my last one of the year, and then I'm going to take a couple of weeks off, but I'll schedule in a couple of stuff. Some slightly, it's kind of, I guess, slightly different content to maybe what some of you are used to, but you should hopefully enjoy it. All right, guys, I think I'm going to leave it there. But for everyone that's joined, I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed my awards, and yeah, no, it's been great chatting to you, and thanks for all the chats and the comments. Much appreciated. And I'll play you with the last montage. This has been Jamie from Boxing Life, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.